slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't.
Hey team, hope you're all doing well and you had a great weekend and a great start of the week. Today's video is based on a question that I was recently asked, and that's how many speed runs should we do in a week? Okay, so how many speed workouts is necessary to really succeed in the sport as a middle to long distance runner? Of course, every athlete is going to be different. There are some athletes out there that don't do speed at all and still get very good results in either on the track or on the roads. And they work very well with volume. They work very well with doing maybe like tempo runs and doing consistent long runs. And they don't really do speed workouts. I've known a lot of athletes like that. My wife's an example. She did, in her prime, she didn't do any type of speed workouts. And she ran a 3:23 marathon, low 19s for the 5K. And so it just depends on the individual. It depends on the athlete. But in most cases, the faster you're trying to run, if you're focused on times and you're not just focused on getting out and competing just to start and finish a race, there's differences. Obviously, there's runners that just want to do this recreationally. They just want to do it more for fun and enjoy themselves and are not so heavily focused on, I got to run this time or else. If you're more time focused, which a lot of the athletes that watch these videos of mine are time specific. They're wanting to run under a specific time for maybe a 5K or a half marathon. You do have to start implementing speed workouts. And I think in most cases, one speed workout per week is sufficient. In many cases, sometimes athletes will do maybe a speed workout on the track earlier in the week, maybe on a Monday, and maybe on a Thursday, they'll do hill repetitions, or they'll do a tempo run over hillier terrain, which is in a form, obviously, when you're running over hills, you're activating different muscle groups that you're not really using on flat surfaces. So those are especially if you're doing hill repetitions, if you find like a 100-meter hill or 150-meter hill and you're doing reps up and down those particular hills, that is without a doubt a form of speed training. So you can get away with doing 2 speed workouts per week, and most highly competitive athletes are doing about 2 speed workouts in some form. They're doing more of a track session, maybe repeat 600s, repeat Ks on the track, and then later in the week, they're either doing another form of maybe not such highly anaerobic type workouts like doing repeat 200s or 300s on the track, but they're doing tempo runs, they're doing hill repetitions, those types of workouts, or maybe doing a fartlek workout where you're running like 2 minutes hard, 1 minute easy, and you're doing that for 10 consecutive reps. Those are different examples of speed runs in and of themselves. It's just not, maybe they're not as intense as the speed workouts on the track or on the road. Some athletes just prefer not to even get on the track, and they'll do repetitions on the road. I like doing them on the roads as well. It just gets you away from the monotony of just doing loops around the oval. Obviously, the track is without a doubt the best surface in terms of being on a flat surface and being able to know exactly what your splits are for like 200, 300, 400 meters and up, or if you're doing repeat 1600s. There's nothing better than getting on a track versus on the roads. You may work very well on doing speed runs on the roads. Other athletes may not like that as much, and they just really want to get on the track and really having those exact splits throughout the week. Obviously, there's so many other factors that go into performing at high levels on the track or on the roads. Taking long breaks from the sport. Maybe, I think you can get away with doing that and being able to get back into great shape in a matter if you've taken a few months off. But if you've taken several years off, or if you've taken maybe like over a decade off, it's going to take a long time, a very long time, for you to get back into the shape you were in several years ago or maybe a decade ago. Okay, I had to go through this experience myself, and sometimes you do maybe chase specific goals, and maybe they're way above what you're capable of because you've had a break. It's still okay to push yourself. It's still okay to get outside of your comfort zone, whether you succeed or fail. Give yourself a shot. At least tell yourself, hey, I've been away for a long time, and see what you can do, and give yourself that patience. Okay, but you still have to focus on the speed. You still have to focus on, especially if you're trying to run a fast time over a specific distance, and you're trying to hold that pace. In most cases, it's going to be aggressive. You want to spend some time training at paces that you know you're not going to be able to hold in the race, so that again you can get that goal race pace to feel somewhat easier, and not feel like you're in an all-out sprint from the very start of the race. If you're out of shape, give yourself sufficient time. Give yourself about 4 to 6 weeks of easy aerobic base mileage before you even think about starting to do any type of track sessions or tempo runs or faster long runs. Faster long runs are important. I think that as is running slow and relaxed as well, you have to have that recovery. You can't just push the body hard over and over and over again. Okay, you're not going to perform very high at a high level if you do that. And I think too, timing is important. Okay, I think if you train between 4 and 6 months, I think that's the optimal time frame. If you're preparing for doing speed runs, and just wondering about how many speed runs should we do in a week. First, allot that sufficient time to build the foundation first before you start getting involved in doing track sessions or tempo runs, fartlek workouts. All that's going to take time for you to build up to. And if you just jump into speed workouts too quickly without first building a strong aerobic base and build that aerobic fitness, strengthening your tendons and your ligaments, and being able to do that first before you start jumping into doing the faster workouts, this is going to be a much more enjoyable experience for you, rather than just jumping into speed sessions when you're not in good shape at all. Of course, if you can do that, but just don't expect to hit fast splits immediately. And I know I'm preaching to the choir to all of you. I know that most of you, if not all of you first do focus on building that aerobic fitness first, and then you start implementing some faster race-specific training. You go into, you go into your aerobic phase, then you go into your race-specific phase, and then in most cases you go into a taper phase where you start to taper off the volume and intensity. And again, all this is complex. It can get easier. It's much easier if you've been consistently competing for several years and you haven't had really long breaks. I think too, just from my own experience with this, long breaks, like several years or even over a decade, it's really hard to come back and to get back into race shape versus if you were just stayed in the sport and continue to compete. And again, every athlete has different goals, and some athlete, I've known athletes over the years that were way better than I was, way faster than I was on the track or on the roads, that retired years ago. Really when they were still like in their 20s. Athletes that ran under 9:10 for the 2 mile in high school, athletes that ran like well under 4:05 for 1,600 meters in high school. They pretty much retired after high school. I mean, athletes that just were far superior to what I dropped in high school, and even in college. A lot of athletes just move on with other things in life. They, even if they're training at a very high level in college, they're doing the speed workouts, they're doing the tempo runs, they're competing, they're getting really great results, and training and racing at the highest of levels. They move on and do other things with their lives. And obviously this is just running. There's more to life than just running, but at the same time, if you found something you love, like I did with running, you want to give it your best shot for as long as you can. And if it gets to a point where you're like, I've really done all I've wanted to do in the sport, then enjoy jogging, enjoy getting out and spending time with your friends and family. if you're heavily involved in running and you want to coach other athletes, help them do something that they didn't think they could do. You know, I found that I get far more enjoyment out of that than I ever did setting PRs and competing and racing. Of course, I still love to race. I still loved to all the things that I did in the sport. But when I get responses from athletes such as yourselves, or if I get emails, I get a lot of emails and a lot of comments that just from athletes that are saying, man, I can't believe I ran as quick as I did. I dropped this amount of time because I was trying to follow. I was doing some of the things that you were talking about. That inspires me. That fires me up far more than anything I could have ever done in the sport. Because again, it's a selfish sport, but at the same time, you want to enjoy yourself. You want to find something that you love doing, and obviously you have. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeking, this answer. How many speed runs should we do in a week? You're trying to get to the next level. You're trying to get faster. You're trying to get more competitive. But you have to have that. You have to have that support structure around you. Okay, it takes so much time and effort, as you already know, to get in great shape. You have to have a supportive spouse, a supportive boyfriend, girlfriend, or friends and family. But the good thing is they'll care about you regardless what you do, regardless how fast you run. And I found that with not only my family, but also with the folks here on the channel. At the end of the day, they know the struggle. They get it. They understand that there's ups and downs. They understand that you miss more than you make. So there's times where you succeed and there's times where you fail. But you never get to success unless you're willing to get outside of your comfort zone and be vulnerable and be willing to fail going after something that is a motivation for you. So I hope this video in terms of how many speed runs should we do in a week is helpful for you. I know I went off on a little bit of tangents here, but I think it's still important to keep these fundamentals in mind, okay? At the end of the day, it's just running. You're healthy. You're able to get out and compete. Be thankful for that. And whether you succeed or fail, you still have the opportunity to do something and go out there and do something you truly love to do. And don't have any regrets. Even in my own background with this sport, I have zero regrets. The only thing I wish I would have done was made the Olympic team, but I just did not have that type of leg speed. I didn't have that type of immense talent. There's such a small amount of men and women out there that make the Olympic team. To make the Olympic trials, to earn an Olympic trial standard. I did that 28 days after the Olympic trials were held in 2008. So in that, even though I did it 28 days after the trials were held, I achieved what I wanted to do. That's about the farthest I possibly could have pushed myself in order to get with my own athletic ability. Do the same for yourself, whether that's to earn a Boston Marathon qualifying time, break a 25-minute 5K, run 2 hours under the half marathon. Do those types of things that are going to motivate you and enjoy what you're doing. And at the end of the day, when you're done competing, don't have any regrets. Don't say, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have at least tried to do what I was seeking out to do. And don't have that what if. Don't go to bed thinking, man, I wish I would have done that. What if I would have done that? You'll never know unless you go out and you do it. You give it a shot. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Thank you so much for your support. If you're looking to take your training and racing to the next level, check out the resources on RunDreamAchieve.com or below any of my videos. I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate the responses. I appreciate your comments, your questions. And I'll also be starting the weekly streams, live streams as well. More than likely starting this week. And I want to stay consistent with that to be able to just reach out and correspond with all of you as well. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.